Attention Austin musicians and music industry professionals. Are you having a difficult time navigating these waters, especially after the coronavirus and all the clubs have been closed? You don't know what to do? Well, let me tell you about a great resource for you. That's the Austin Music Foundation. Austin Music Foundation provides ongoing artist development services through its educational panels, one-on-one consultations, and online resources. Now listen, gang, all of that stuff is available to you, the artist or music industry professional, for free. And since coronavirus hit back in March and everything is closed down, Austin Music Foundation had the forethought to move all of their programs online. That's right, you can watch panels online, you can do your consultations online. Austin Music Foundation is there for you, and it's all free to you, the artist. Just go to austinmusicfoundation.org. That's austinmusicfoundation.org. Get involved.
And you may ask yourself, well, how did I get here?
It's time for How Did I Get Here? And now here is your host, Johnny Maldi.
When we talked,
All right, hello, I'm Johnny. I'm your host. Welcome to the show. I hope you're all doing well out there. How you doing? How you doing? How you hanging in there? You'll notice the show's dropping on Wednesday. That means that we're dropping 3 shows this week. Yeah. Aaron Ivy's show came out on Monday. I don't know if you've checked that out yet, but check it out. It's a great show. I actually got a nice email from a guy named Chuck who said, Johnny, I listened to your show with Aaron Ivy yesterday and thought I'd reach out this morning. You have a great thing going with How Did I Get Here and an exceptional, quick-witted, big-hearted gift behind the mic. You did Aaron proud, and thanks a ton for that. Well, thank you, Chuck. That's very nice of you. I'm doing what I can over here at How Did I Get Here. Guys, I'd like to take you down memory lane for a while. Maybe some of you lived in Austin in the 80s and 90s. You might have remembered that Access Television was a big thing here. They had a couple of channels, and they had a lot of shows, and people had shows, and there was all kinds of things going on. When I moved here in 1991, and I lived at the Congress House, they had cable, and I would see these shows, and I would get mesmerized by them. They were weird shows. There was a cult here called Zendik Farms, and the Zendik guy, Wolf Zendik, was his name. He had a long beard and like these long fingers and was all like Manson-y and would talk on there, and I would watch that for a while. Alex Jones was on Access Television here in Austin before he became the Alex Jones that we all loathe. You got to loathe him on a local access level. There was all kinds of people, man. There was this guy that hated the Beatles after their first couple of records and said they became like drug-taking Satanists. And he would play songs with his young daughters, like 8. And they would play like I Want to Hold Your Hand together as a band. It was so weird. There was a guy named Keyboard Ace in the 90s that I used to watch all the time. And he was this kid that was like 14. And he was just in an empty studio, an empty access studio, like, you know, the colored walls and the curtains behind him. And he had like multiple keyboard setups and a headset mic. And he would sing songs about doing a winter and not doing drugs. And while I was ripping bong hits, I was watching this dude. Anyway, so Access had all this rich stuff. But when I moved here in 1991, I was home on a Saturday night one night, flipping through the channels, and I came across these 2 dudes that were real cool. They had a show called Capsize. One of them was named Dave Pruitt. The other guy was named Nathan Olivares. He was known as Nasty Nathan then. And they would take calls from people. They would interview local bands. They would have local bands play on the show. They would show local bands videos as well as maybe some national videos. Dave had 2 shows, Raw Time and Capsize. I can't remember if one of them was strictly local or if they both incorporated national stuff. But it was mostly local music. You got to know these bands, and people would call in and ask questions. And the show was like from midnight till 4 in the morning. So even if you went out that night, you'd race home to get home and see Capsize and see Dave and Nathan. And I couldn't wait to get my band together, get my shit together, and then go on Capsize. That's all I wanted. So in 1993, I had this band, Mr. Rocket Baby, and we actually got to go on there. We got on their radar, and we got on their show. We went on a few times, man. We had a good time with those guys. We hung out with those guys. I loved those guys. I've continued to be friends with those guys for years. I've been closer to Dave through the decades. Dave Pruitt, fantastic guy. In fact, I had Nathan and Dave on a couple of years ago when Dave was moving away and just kind of went through the whole story of their show. I'll post a link to that show in the text of this podcast so you can get into it, because it's just a great memory. And then going on that show, getting to know those dudes. And the reason why I'm pointing this out is that when they had this show where they were interviewing local bands and they were doing all of this production, they were doing all of this stuff, they were giving a platform to bands, you know, getting bands recognized. I saw bands for the first time all the time on there. People I ended up being friends with to this day, I saw on there and was like, I want to meet that person. They're so cool. They were doing it for nothing, man. Dave and Nathan were out there doing it for nothing. They weren't making money. They were doing probably, 52 shows a year. I don't remember them taking a week off or something like that. Putting their whole soul into it for a long time. I think maybe a decade. They put their backs into this shit, man. And they did it because they're fans of music. And they wanted to help bands get known. And that's like one of the coolest things in the world, man. Music fans. Just like me, just like you listening to this show, we're all just fans of music. So that ties into today's show. I have a great show for you guys today. The guy that I was talking about, Nathan Olivares, the co-host of Capsize, is my guest today. He has a band called Stupid Drama, and they have just released a brand new album called Fat Cats, Songs for Management. Nathan's put out a number of albums under Stupid Drama, under Nathan Stupid Drama. You might have seen him playing around town. He plays a very unique style of music. It's great. It's acoustic prog rock, and he plays on a 12-string acoustic. So it's a very specific sound, but it's very, very great, and he's cultivated it over the last, over the decades. We have a really fantastic conversation about his journey from Corpus Christi to Austin, where his dad just brought him up here, dropped him off, kicked him out of the car, and said, "Get going, guy," in the 80s. He started playing. It was a great story. And then, of course, all the years on Access Television and all that stuff. But now he's out with an album that he is happiest about. This is what he feels like he's finally hit the nail on the head with producer and engineer Tim Guerin, my friend over there at Space. It's 8 songs. It's 31 minutes long. It's absolutely fantastic. You can go to stupiddrama.com and find out more about the band, link in more with the band, follow them on the socials, but you can find it. You can find Fat Cats Songs for Management wherever it is you stream and download your jams. Now, also, Stupid Drama is playing a show on February 13th at Come and Take It on Riverside here in Austin. So go to stupiddrama.com, get the info on that. Me and Nathan have a fantastic conversation about the 80s, the 90s, getting sober, making this record, doing it all, man. Always great to talk to Nathan. Also, I have to take an aside. Turns out he hated me in the 90s when I was in that band, Mr. Rockababy, that finally got on Capsize. And he comes clean. He tells me all about it, but that's all right. We're friends now. I always liked him, just for the record. I always did. I always thought he was funny. I loved watching him on TV, and I was a little bit starstruck whenever I was around Dave and Nathan in the 90s. Because they were like these dudes that like I would race home to see, you know? All right. So without further ado, here's my old friend / enemy, my man, Nathan Olivares from Stupid Drama. Let's get down.
You get a chance to listen to any of that record?
I listened to it. Yeah, I listened to it a couple of times. What do you mean, did I get a chance to listen to any of it? That's crazy, man.
I was just asking.
No, I'm just fucking with you. Yeah, man. You
I was fucking with you. I didn't hear it at all.
Who played drums on that?
His name is David Swanson.
Okay. And the guy that played bass is Tom Coyne?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So how long, that's what I was going to say is like, did you guys cut this together? Because it has a good has a good band vibe to it? Like, did you cut it live
David-
altogether?
The drummer and I did.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Okay.
And then the bass player came in and laid on top of it. But then I laid guitars over the one guitar that I laid down.
Yeah. What's great, man. I
So
mean, you guys
just-
did a great job. And it's interesting
We
because
took it to Tim Guerin.
yeah. So you guys recorded it yourselves and then he mixed it? Tim mixed it?
I own this little studio / practice space I like to call Drama Factory, just it makes it sound tough. And we're using Danny G.
Yeah.
And he wants to add a bunch of stuff and like use different microphones and realistic, this and then I said, look, dude, we're not experimenting. You put a 57 on the hi-hat, put it, and I have some sheer drum mics. You put a B52 3 foot out. You put a tube mic,
Yeah.
and it just flat. I just want everything flat, That way, when it comes time to mixing it, we can add all of that stuff to it.
Right. Well, it doesn't seem mired in effects or anything, but who did all the backing vocals? Is that all you?
Yes, sir. Swanee does like 2 background vocals. It was kind of funny. I called David Swanson Swanee. But he came in, laid down a couple. And then Danny did a couple of vocals. But for the most part, it was me, and they supported just for some different tones.
But like in the what's the name of the first song? I'm sorry, I didn't write down the name.
The first song is "To Be With You."
To Be With You. That song goes into almost like a church choir. Not like a church choir, but like a Southern Baptist church. You know what I mean?
That's a big honor.
Like a spiritual, yeah.
Worked really hard on it, and for the first time, Johnny, I'm sober enough to be able to produce this stuff the way that all the other albums should be. Does that make sense? Like
the ones you did before.
Right. And then I added 4 new ones. So we did 4 from the back catalog and then 4 new ones. And two of the 4 new ones were instrumentals.
Yeah.
The instrumental ones.
Yeah. I dug the Ode to Banks. That's a really beautiful one.
What's funny is that's the second to the longest song.
Yeah.
And you can really hear. I mean, I was hovering over the mic, and you can hear, if you put on headphones, you can hear me going, and you'd be like, it's weird. And then at the very end of the song, you can hear what the music rooms sound like with just the electric current. You can literally, we turn those preamps up so hot that you can literally hear the electricity running through the room.
I love that.
Yeah, a lot of fun. And the guys didn't know that I was going to put it on there, But yeah, it was something that I definitely wanted to do. Second to the longest song, which I thought was crazy because it doesn't feel that way.
Right.
To
No,
me.
it doesn't. No.
It doesn't feel like a long song.
No, and it's a short record. I mean, I wrote it down. It's only 31 minutes. I think that's cool, man. Why do you gotta make an hour and a half album? What's wrong with you?
I used to do that, but
You did?
then my thought was people don't listen anymore. And so then I started thinking, man, it's the flip side. And like it's a side of a record.
Yeah.
Like it's the side of Kansas, Point of No Return, side 1.
Yeah.
Rush 2112, side 1, or side 2. That's the length of the album.
Yeah.
And I think it's a good attention span there,
Yeah.
A couple of epics.
You bring up those bands, and there's such a progressive element to what you're doing, and there's a lot of like it's specific, man. I'm trying to think about how long. Like I've known you almost 30 years at this point. I've been seeing you for 30 years at least.
I've been a
Almost.
fan of yours. I was very, very jealous of you, Johnny. Like, I couldn't believe that you had so many different bands that always kicked ass, and you've always delivered vocals and a positive message in what you do.
Oh, thanks,
and I
man.
I was jealous of that. Like, really, back in the day, it was like me against the world because I didn't know how to work well with other people. You know what I mean?
Well, it's interesting
And so-
because you at the time, like the way that I knew you at that time was I knew you from videos on Access, but you also co-hosted a show, and you seemed to be out there and in it with people,
Oh, I loved that part.
you know.
But whenever I saw a band that had their act together, like
Yeah.
I had to, in my mind, and my goal was to be better than that.
Right.
And so it was my competitive attitude that kept me, I don't want to say on top, because I figured I was always the best of the junior varsity, right? I didn't get New Year's Eve, I got New Year's Day. You know what I mean? I didn't get, the kick-ass Christmas. I got Christmas Day.
Right.
You know, I didn't get St. Patty's Day. I got St. Patty's Day Eve, So I was always part of that junior varsity part. So it made me want it more. And because I had access to so many different styles of bands, that it made me want to do that. But it also, do you remember that band Outlaw Circus?
I remember seeing flyers of that. I don't know if I ever saw them.
Trevor, the name Trevor Detling? He's gone on and he did it totally different. He has a drum troupe. He teaches at St. Edward's and has his own students. And he did it a different way. Instead of playing live music in a bar band, he's the one who started it with me. He's playing like Carnegie Hall, but he's not playing band music per se, and he started this with me, and he's the one who taught me that I could add a rock element to the 12 string, because I always had it separate. Like I had the music,
Right.
and I had the rock, and I can't play. I don't know if it's I can't. To me, the acoustic was always the acoustic, and then the Les Paul had to have a couple of overdrives on it. You know what I mean? So that's why I always had two different flavors of music in both of my bands.
But it seems like these songs would translate into an electric. There is a thing, like when I was listening to it, and I don't mean this in any kind of slight or any way, but there is, like, when you start listening to it, you're like, I wonder why the choice was made to do this acoustically rather than full on electric. But it is, and then I was thinking about it and thinking that what I was getting to is that I've seen you doing this acoustic 12-string thing for a while. And
yeah, that's how I came into town, was on the 12 string. Crow from the original Agony column used to make fun of me, and he would say, yeah, man, I remember when you came up here and you weren't using your middle name, so you were Joe with your boat shoes and your book of love songs. And I'd go, hey, dude, fucking, you don't know me, bro. But that was me to the T,
Right.
And so I came up here doing the acoustic stuff.
okay,
And
I'm sorry. Before I want to get the whole journey, but first I just kind of want to get the philosophy, or like sort of
Right.
like what the idea is behind your band, because it is very specific, and it doesn't, like, sonically, it doesn't sound like other stuff, because people who are playing more progressive music use electric instruments, and this is very. It's almost what I liked about it too is that there's not like a lot of effects on anything. It's all pretty, just sounds good.
and
dry.
that was the goal.
Yeah.
That was the goal, Johnny.
Yeah.
And the reason is because when I go to play electric music, I go, that just happens, right? We did an album called Falling Down with Michael Davila and Ulrich Ellison.
Mhm.
And Ulrich brought some of those electric tones.
Yeah.
But to me, it got away from the sound that I heard in my head. Like, I'm really proud of it.
Yeah.
And it sounds very progressive with the heavier guitars on it. But it totally took away from the idea of 12-string fronted progressive rock. And I still wanted to do the Nathan with the vocals that matter first. Does that make sense? So
Yeah.
it was the vocals and then the acoustic guitar, which had to be second, you know, because that was the way that I heard it. This is what it was showcasing me, you know.
So my question then is, why the 12-string instead of a 6-string? Like, what is it? Because it's a little different of a sound, or it's fuller sound, or?
I've been playing in church since I was 5 years old.
Okay.
The little Catholic mariachi boy, you know, the curly-headed mariachi boy. I was him. And the church when I was, my dad had an old Ventura 12-string that he got me so I could play in church. And I must have been about 9. And so I've always just played the 12-string. And then a little later on, we took over the 11 o'clock Mass, and the church bought me a beautiful Alvarez 12-string. And it made such a, I could make a bigger sound with the 12-string, and the girls, and the bottom line is chicks dug it.
Right. Well, I've always, like, if I had Bowie on this show, I would ask him that same, like, why did you play a 12-string? Like, what? Because,
Right.
I mean, they're fucking pain in the ass to tune.
Well, let me see. I've got this, I don't have it with me. I have an automatic tuner.
On there?
It's called Roadie.
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
And they're the little bitty things that you know, I have them, and I have 48 strings to tune before every show. So I just pull that thing out and I'm done in a minute and a half. You know, I just stick that thing on the tuning peg and it tunes it automatically. It moves it and tunes it perfectly. Like, even when I tune with a tuner, there's always that slight little bit because I'm like,
The chorus, yeah. That's the thing about the 12-string, because it gives you that natural chorus. It's so
love
nice. Yeah.
and I've tried the 6-string, but I never thought about it, Johnny. You know, that's a weird question because I never thought about playing anything else when I played my acoustic.
Right. But it's pretty specific, and you see people use a 12-string for a reason. Like, I just did a tune that's coming out pretty soon, and I did a whole Rickenbacker 12-string picking thing, but I used that 12-string specifically to get a sound. I don't run around, and you don't see a lot of people playing exclusively 12-string, which I think is really cool. Like, I didn't know if that was part of it. Like, well, I'll be the only guy doing this.
No, it wasn't a thought. It's just what happened.
So here's my other question. When you talk about the tuning and taking the 4 guitars, my other question to you is, you drop the D, right? Sometimes on some of those ripped up.
Guitar 1 is standard 420.
Yeah.
440.
Right.
Then next is drop D is guitar 2. Guitar number 3 is an open D tuning,
Okay.
but capo 5,
Okay.
which makes it an open G.
Okay.
And then guitar 4 is open D tuning, capo 2, and then I take the capo off of guitar 4, which then translates into an open D.
So I knew there was some stuff like that.
Yeah,
opinion-
man.
When you go play a gig, if you want to play all your tunes, you got to take 4 guitars, or you're going to be sitting there tuning guitars for a while with your automatic tuner.
You know, and see, I don't mind talking, Johnny. You know, like in the middle of songs, like, you know, my drummer Swanee, he's got this thing where if I get a little winded, he just goes like my old Miss Jagger from 6th grade. She used to, when everybody be talking, she would take her stick on her little music stand and go. And she wouldn't say anything. She just tapped till she got everybody's attention.
Right.
My drummer does the same thing to me. So instead of saying, he just goes, and which is totally the opposite of what Tom does. Tom goes, God, man, shut up, Nathan. This is what you're doing, man. We came to play music. Shut up. But Tom is the worst at dad jokes.
Oh yeah.
Like, but he, and that guy's got a pedigree on him. He grew up playing in New York City with all of those shit. He's got recordings with Herbie Hancock, Mahavishnu Orchestra.
Shit.
What was that drummer? His name will come to me when it comes time. But the Black Cat. Anyway, he was in his house. He was in house band because he was such a prodigy as a kid. And then he toured, was making lots and lots of money back then. And then, and it's amazing who he knows. He'll just be talking. He'll go, yeah, I was hanging out, and back then, Neil had a gig, and him and Pat were writing songs for that debut album they came up. And you stop and you wrote Neil Girardo and Pat Benatar? Yeah. We used to live down the block.
Wow.
Or the Appice brothers. They lived right on the back house of me, and they had a band called, Purple Mushroom. And then my band played, and we'd opened up for all these guys so he came from that whole era of progressive. He stopped playing for about 20 years so he could raise kids. And he did it right, man. Like, that guy, he is not hurting. He's got a 3 living room house in Bee Caves overlooking all the trees with a swimming pool down, and like he's not hurting at all.
Yeah, that's good, man.
For him, so now he's playing for fun.
Yeah.
And it doesn't hurt him.
It seems like it's funny because when people say that and playing for fun, I always think of the thing that when people ask me, like, you obviously don't do it for the money. And I was like, I don't play for money at all. I get in a car and drive to a gig for money. I sit in a fucking chair waiting to fucking go play for money.
Yeah.
I take my shoes off in fucking TSA for money. But the playing, I do it for free. So all right, so let's go back to this. You're a kid. Where were you born?
Corpus Christi.
Oh yeah, baby, the magic land.
And what's funny is a lot of us motherfuckers up here are from Corpus Christi.
Do you when did you move here from Corpus?
My dad dropped me off here when I was 15 years old.
Like, just left you?
Yeah. Well, I felt like I didn't deserve it.
Okay, well, wait.
I think that's a part that I forget to keep saying.
Yeah, let's work our way up to this. Okay, so you're a kid in Corpus Christi. That's where the church gig was when you were 7. So when did you start? Yeah. That's when you started playing guitar?
No, I started playing when I was 5.
Why is that? Oh, hang on. My Google's freaking out. Hey, Google, stop. Sorry. So you started playing when
mine too. Hey, Google, stop.
I was watching this movie the other day, and they said it in there, and then I could hear her in the background. I was like, oh, man, they did this on purpose.
You know they did. That's like during football games, they say, hey, Siri, give me the next football.
Right. And everybody's phone goes off when they're watching it.
And they're laughing just like that.
Right. Okay, so you're 5. You're living in Corpus Christi. It's you, your mom, your dad. What about brothers and sisters?
My little brother,
okay,
John, 16 months, 18 months.
Younger?
March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October, 7 and 12. So about 18 months.
Okay.
7 and 12 is 18.
So you did you ask for the guitar, or did they give it to you, or what was going on?
Johnny, I don't know, because I've always remembered myself playing guitar. Like, it's one of those things that, as far back as I can remember, I played guitar.
You just had this guitar and you played it.
No, I wasn't very good. I remember playing the G chord. It was so small that I had to wrap my thumb around and this finger, and that was how I played a G, because I couldn't get my fingers to do a G.
Right. But you were playing a G, like that's pretty big. You weren't just strumming the guitar and dancing in front of a mirror.
My uncle, I played in church. My dad was a famous mariachi person down in the Rio Grande Valley area. And his name was Mariachi Joe. That's what they called him, but he played in mariachi bands. My uncle moved to Hobbs, New Mexico. They moved the family there, and he played in the Jets. And the Jets would play the skating rink, and they were the house band for like King, Johnny B. Good, that cat,
Oh,
like all those cats.
Yeah. The dude would, right. Like a Chuck Berry would tour from town to town just by himself, and they would be in a pickup band that just learned his tunes.
Right, the house band or whatever would play, right? And so that's what my uncle did. So whenever I would go and visit him, I was his rhythm guitar player. So I learned I learned that, and I learned the right hand rhythms. And I still, like, even with my leads now, and like this hand, I got this one down though, Right. I think these guitar players miss out too. Anyway, I got off on a tangent, but 15, I was raising hell. I got caught. I got caught. I had taken some money from my parents for $500. I bought a bunch of cassettes and a Ventura Les Paul. And my parents caught me with that. And that's where I got it. And they found out. And that was after just really, really deciding that school wasn't for me, that I wanted to be a rock star. So I told my dad, I'm going to just run away. So he goes, you ain't got to run away, boy. Yeah. He says, I'll drop you off. He says, let's go. I said, no, Dad. Tuesday. So I was hanging out with, my friends, and Steve and his parents had a boat, and we used to get leafy Acapulco Gold and smoke it in the... we would smoke it in the boat with the cover on it, Right. And so I'd come home and my dad would bust me. My mom had a nose to death, and she would go, you went to Pizza Hut, you were hanging out, you've been smoking cigarettes, you've had some beer,
right?
You were hanging out with Sherry Killingsworth.
Yeah.
Mom, what the hell? How do you know that? So they were sick of my shit. They really were.
Right. It wasn't like the stealing the money was the first thing you did. That was the last
point.
straw. Yeah.
Right, or one of the straws.
Right.
I don't know if that was the last one, but me bowling up to my dad. Oh, it was because I was dating this. I was dating this twirler who worked at the swimming pool right up the sidewalk, and she used to come down in a purple macrame bikini, and we go in my room and we'd 69.
Yeah.
All day.
That's pretty good.
My parents, like they couldn't take it.
Yeah. Like
I was disrespecting their home. I was,
right.
That white puta, and just like all of the things that come with it. Why wasn't I dating Latinas?
Right.
So that had a lot to do with it, and who I decided to hang out with. And then I started a band. I met a substitute teacher my 8th grade going into freshman year of high school, and he lived in the house right behind me, and their house looked like the Munsters' house, just overrun. And he said, look, man, if you come work on my house once a week with you and your buddies, you can use this place. So My dad sold us some old blue carpet that he changed out of the house. We put it up all over the walls, got some pallets and built a stage, and we practiced in there. And my parents would come home for lunch and they would hear the band practicing. And I never understood how they knew that I'd skipped school.
Right. That's how they knew.
Yeah.
So
they just dropped me off, and Dad didn't even look in the rearview mirror, man. Like,
but did you ever get back with them? Did you guys mend your fences?
We mended fences, but as my dad would say, I'll forgive, but I'll never forget.
Okay.
And as my dad just died from COVID, November 20th.
So sorry about that, man.
It was his time. Died exactly 1 year to the day from my mom. And he's the only one in the whole place that got COVID. So I think my mom sent the COVID to go get my dad.
Yeah.
Because I think my dad was having too much fun with all the nurses or something.
Right. Yeah.
Mom said, that's enough.
Yeah.
You're coming home. You're coming with me,
Yeah.
So,
So your dad drops you off in Austin, and what did you do? What year was that? Like you were 15? What was going on?
1980. Oh, fuck. Raoul's.
Oh, yeah.
Armadillo.
Yeah.
Liberty Lunch. Antones. I just wrote a song called Smoking Joe where it talks about me meeting all these older women while their husbands were gone for the weekend.
Right.
So I called it, I don't know if we're recording or not, but I called it Fucking for Hair Products. Because I got to shower and I got to, use some fancy Nexus products, maybe some Pantene,
Yeah, something fancy.
And then I'd go and busk on the streets, on the drag. And then Trudy's down there had a downstairs place they weren't really using. So they fed me a meal and I got to play downstairs for tips. And that's how I was 15, about to be 16, I think. And I met some Christian acid heads that took me in, and I paid rent and they got me a job working construction, but I never showed up and I just played music, and it's kind of been here ever since. And I think about it, man, and it's like all the choices that we make lead us to where we are today, right? And one of the choices that I had, because I had college paid for, literally. I had whatever I wanted. My uncles both worked their way up from migrant field workers, or the son of migrant field workers in the Rio Grande Valley, to the Texas Supreme Court and the Alaskan Superior Court. Both are retired now. So the goal for me was to be nothing less than the first Latino president.
Right.
And when I say that, I mean that like in reality, like that was their goal for me, because we had two Supreme Court justices in our family.
Yeah.
So coming from grandma saving pennies so they could go to school, to me having everything, they didn't understand. But my mom, but my mom always said, that's one that didn't, she would say, mijito, just pick something and be the best at it that you can be.
Right.
Just pick and be clean. Doesn't matter if your clothes have holes in it. Just be clean.
Okay.
So
I thought you meant like musically, and I was going to say, well, I guess you never heard that 69 song.
No, not yet. Oh, yeah. I get it.
Oh, but that wasn't a song. That was just a girlfriend. But you should have written a song about it.
I think somewhere I must have, I got like songs like the dog song in my metal band, get on all fours and beg for every inch of my meat. Just silly, heavy metal songs.
So was it metal that was the music that was driving you at the time? Like what was it that you were into?
It's always been the acoustic.
Really?
But I didn't know how to make, because I found a guy that used to work on radio that gave me some bread he liked what I did, and he took me to a place called Saturn Sound. And there used to be this music store called Picker's Paradise. And a cat named Ken Avant. We came up here, and he took us to Ken, and he had this big bouffant hairdo. I remember coming from Corpus Christi, where we all dressed like Metallica, and coming to see a guy with a big bouffant. Austin was strange to me.
Yeah.
But I went in with Bobby Landgraf. And I asked him to help me out because we ran together for a long time. He used to do my 4-track demos for a long time, my acoustic stuff. And then I asked him to do a project. I called it Project Nathan.
Yeah.
But for lack of a better word, because I didn't like Nathan Olivares.
Yeah.
I just thought that was, I don't know why I was so embarrassed of Nathan Olivares, But I called it Project Nathan. And he sang backups. And it was funny because we'd go to the Ametry when I was on 38th, and we had a bunch of coffee, and we go, oh shit, man, we're too buzzed. So we'd go out and we'd smoke some herb, and we go, oh fuck, we're too high. So we'd run back in, and we'd go really drink some more coffee. So when I listened to that, I don't know if it was an album, but that group of songs that we recorded there,
right.
It's so fast. Like, like Jesus,
Right.
But, and so I talked to an investor, and back then in I think it was like 1982, he gave me $6,000 to start my own record label and record a record.
Wow.
Which back in 1982 was
a
lot. And I didn't know how to make a band acoustic record. For some reason, I thought I had to go back and get the band that I had in Corpus Christi to come back and do some songs with me. So I went and got all of those guys, paid for an apartment for them to live in, and we started dancing.
Okay.
And then Jody left Dancer, and I got Trevor Detling, and he's the one that put acoustic songs at the end of our metal set. He says, no, we're doing these 3 songs, and that's all there is to it.
Yeah.
So I pulled out my 12-string, and we did it. And it was like, all of a sudden, I was like, oh, there is a way to do it.
Yeah.
So in that was like 1992. So in 94, it was Trevor on drums, Bobby on guitar, me on guitar, and a cat named Larry Clubb. I don't know if you remember him. Band from Hell.
Yeah.
And he played bass. And it really was just my friends playing my songs. And it was fun, and it was easy. And
then you're saying like 92? 92. So you were playing like Steamboat. Oh wait, I lost your. What happened?
Oh, I'm there.
Okay.
I'm here. I'm here.
So you were playing like Steamboat.
Super Drama was playing Steamboat. Dancer was playing Steamboat.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Where else were you guys
Steamboat,
playing? Where else was Dancer playing? Back Room,
Electric Lounge, Liberty Lunch, Sneakers.
Oh yeah, Sneakers.
San Antonio, Fitzgerald's,
in Houston,
Cardi's.
Yeah.
Dancer made it pretty. We did pretty well.
Yeah.
I think you couldn't have told me that. You couldn't have told us that we weren't fucking rock stars.
Right.
Like it didn't matter if we were stars or not, right? And then when all those bands were getting signed from here at that time, 92, 95, that era right in there.
Yeah.
Maybe going into 2000, I think was the last real hurrah, if I'm not mistaken. We had 3 or 4 different labels sniffing around, but they always wanted something. Like when People for Christmas at the time wanted to change our name to Steel Dancer. And it was like, Steel Dancer. No, we ain't changing our name. And it's like we were so pig-headed that we knew what was going on, that we really shit on all of our opportunities. You know? I called it integrity at the time. You got to give me a second, Johnny.
Yeah.
That's a good one now.
All right, so what happens? Your phone cuts off the sound?
Evidently.
Oh, yeah.
Like I'm learning this as we go.
You're blowing up over there. So did you guys, with Dancer, did you go out on the road and play it all? What was the...
You know, man, and this is hard. I made the decision to do television every weekend.
Right. Yeah.
And that was where my focus was, because my thinking was I could get more people. Back then, access was a thing, right? Television was a thing.
It was a thing, man.
We could get 20 to 30,000 people to flip through the channels every weekend, you know, and they were seeing my face. So to me, that was a way for me to do it. And then I would have to ask permission so I could go and do a couple of a week run or 2 week run.
Right.
And then we go. But for the most part, man, I spent the better part of 30 years tied to the television.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
I'm really proud of what we've done.
Yeah, that was a good time,
really
man.
Proud of what we did.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a good time.
And back when I didn't know what I was doing, I liked it better.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
it's like I was youthful. I didn't care what came out of my mouth.
Right.
Like, and it was like, yeah, said it. What? And Dave would go, okay.
I remember that
let's
about.
go.
Yeah, I remember that about you. Like you had you were like the guy that no one knew what the fuck he was going to say next kind of guy. Yeah, it made it fun, man. That was a fun time in life, just in general.
I think so.
Yeah,
for me too. You know,
maybe it was our age. We were younger.
We were all fucking stars, though, Johnny.
Yeah,
all of us were stars. Like really, you couldn't have told me that Mr. Rocket Baby wasn't fucking the shit.
Yeah,
like,
that was a cool band.
Heroes.
Yeah.
And I'm just using that at Gowdy, you know, and that's why I didn't understand. How does this do? Same thing with that cat Dean in his bands, Color.
Oh yeah,
Dig.
Yeah.
And all of those. Like, how the fuck does he keep having? I'm sticking to my guns with these two bands. I never could sing like anybody else, so I had to do my own material.
Yeah.
I didn't sound like Steve Perry. I didn't sound like John Waite.
No, you know that's another thing I was going to tell you about your thing is it's interesting because you have a really great like rock and roll voice.
It's been the bane of my existence for a very, very long time.
But it's good, man.
Because when I was playing Michael Schenker,
and
I didn't sound like Michael Schenker,
right?
Or I didn't sound like Mike Reno from Loverboy,
right?
Or I didn't sound like the dude from Lex Diamond, which are, or the cats from Budgie. Those really high. The closest that I found my vocal sounded was Phil Leinart.
Thin Lizzy.
Yeah. But I don't know. To me, he didn't have a great voice, so I always wanted me pulled back in the mix, and just. Let's just rock, is what I'd say.
Yeah.
And nobody could do the phrasing like I wanted them to.
Right.
And then whenever we got a lead singer, it's like, they kind of, hey, dude, you can't take away my show. I didn't want to be like Jay Giles band.
Right.
And be Jay Giles on the side.
Right, yeah. Nobody even knows who Jay Giles is.
Yeah. Right. They think the singer's Jay Giles.
Exactly.
So it's a lot of fun though. I don't think I would change it for the world, and those opportunities and the extent of my journey that has been documented is why I really work so hard at it.
Right, right.
You know, because David and I were the dynamic duo for a long time.
Yeah.
It was almost the way I thought. I was the Jerry Lewis and he was the Dean Martin, you know, or that classic straight man, funny man type thing.
Yeah,
you know?
I mean, I know that we did this show where I had both you guys on and we talked all about those times and stuff, but I can't even begin to tell you what it's the best part of Saturday night, man. For like a few years,
and then
you know?
you'd go and jam, and you'd haul ass home.
To see
go
that.
up to the studio.
Yeah. And I remember there was a couple times that, like, I guess we kind of started becoming bros with you guys. I remember leaving a couple Rocket Baby gigs and just going straight to you guys and hanging out on the picnic table, smoking some grass in between.
Yeah, doing that thing.
Yeah, man. What a fucking
being rock stars.
What a fucking great time that was. So dude, let's talk about this. Okay, so Fat Cats Songs for Management. You released a record. Did you record it during the pandemic? Because we
started right before the pandemic.
Okay.
It was. I kept wanting to write a new album because Tom, with all of his ties in New York, kept saying, "Look, we can get on major label tours. I just need a product with us on it instead of the 6 albums with everybody else on it."
Right.
You know? So I kept trying to write a new record with Swanee. And Swanee at the time was kind of getting disgruntled, carrying his drums around and getting $50, $100. You know what I mean? We all run into that.
Yeah.
So he laid down his drums, and then I laid down my guitar, and then Swanee was going to leave the band, or he wasn't going to leave a band. He didn't have it in him to go do a gig in Pflugerville,
right?
And you know, he owns his own company, and he just didn't. You know, he was more than willing to practice, more than willing to do bigger gigs. But me, I wanted to work. You know, if I could pay you $200 a weekend, I can make $300 a weekend plus merch. You know, my roadie gets 150 of it, I get 150 of it, and my name's on the marquee.
Yeah.
You know, like that. That's what I was into. But he didn't have. What did he say, man? I've been a star. I've done that before. I'm not in it for that reason anymore. I'm in it to make great music. And Tommy just getting back into it, but was really wanting to play out. So, long story short, too late. He left. He didn't leave. I started looking for a live drummer.
Okay.
And I pushed this in the back for a couple of months and found this kick-ass kid named Estian Lowe, ran one of Davila's best friends. And we were getting it down pretty good, but Swanee kept going, "Dude, I thought you were getting Trevor, the original drummer, or you were going to use Michael, who's played with you before. What are you doing getting these other cats?" You know? I go, "Well, dude, I need to play live. It's how I live. It's how I make my money, you know? And it's just what I got to do." So that's right before the pandemic hit.
Okay.
And one day he had come over just to come over, and we were still best friends, you know. And I just looked at him and said, "Dude, are we going to talk about this, or this is going to get fucking weird, or what?" And he looked at me and goes, "Oh, we're having the talk, huh?" I said, "Well, yeah, man. Like, I'm playing with these other people. My jam room was 2 doors down from his. So it's not like I could sneak people in there to go and play."
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So he said, "As you can tell, I'm not going anywhere, bro. Like, I'm not going anywhere." And then that's right at the beginning of January. So we started rehearsing again with Tommy so he could do his parts. Tom is a very strange individual. He is able to write write it down, write his parts, come up with phenomenal shit, lay it down on paper in front of him, and play it perfect from first time. Like,
Awesome.
he's a consummate pro.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
that.
Right.
Swanee and I, we have to.
If they, yeah. Well, your music's
we
not.
gotta
It's
take
not
time.
like a 145 fucking Antone's, Monday
Right.
evening at 7 jam. It's a fucking. There's
You
a lot
gotta
of
know what you're
changes
doing.
and there's weird chords
Yeah.
in there,
And
and it's progressive. There's
I
like
wear
weird
my-
time changes and shit.
I wear my heroes on my sleeve.
Yeah.
Styx, Yes, Rush, Kansas.
Yeah.
Heart.
So the question I was going to get to was so you recorded this. You were mixing it under the pandemic because I was seeing you whenever I go rehearse with Skyrocket at Space. You were coming into work as I was going home or whatever.
Okay, so what we did was, I have my own stuff, right? I just upgraded the studio, Allen Heath Q24, updid all the mics, and we were really getting some great tones. Did the guitar. Tom came in because we were locked out of our studio over off South First, Austin Music Rooms.
Oh yeah.
And so that's where I'm at.
Okay.
So we recorded everything there flat. Then we got locked out for 2 months. So that put us in to April, almost May, like whenever they finally opened it up and everybody felt safe to start going back into the studio.
Yeah.
Rusty's up there just working his ass off. There's a layer of bleach on everything about that thick,
Yeah. Yeah.
But we started working on it again. And with everybody's schedule, Tom was really, really working a lot out of town. So we had to schedule Danny and Tom together. And
Yeah.
I went in there and we did that. And then I had to schedule Tim.
Right. And then
so
you guys.
whenever you were there, that's when I started seeing you up there.
Right. So this fall you mixed it, and then it came out in November. But like, did you do like a live stream release show or anything like that? Have you been getting into the live
we
stream
did that
vibe?
with Bobby Sharon and Cobra Cast.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, man, it was. He said he had never done that before,
cool.
and it was so short. We really, really had a riot doing that. Like it was like our debut. I just finished the artwork and sent it this morning. So we have a show coming up soon at Come and Take It. I believe it's February 13th, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
But so I'm going to have some CDs there. And everybody goes, why are you making CDs? I say, well, because if I sell 2 CDs, that's 20,000 downloads. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's just, there's also depression. And there's all the stuff that makes us, our radar as musicians, I think, are on. But then I can't say that we're more special than anybody because everybody's been dealing with this, like lockdown, and then the idiots that won't wear masks, and then just like the sheer audacity of people that I don't agree with, but it being so violent that it was scary to even get out.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
I couldn't even, I was supposed to have everything done when we had this mixed. Mm-hmm. And I'm sitting in here in my office and I've got my Mac right here and I couldn't sit at it for very long because it was just like, why am I doing this?
Yeah. There's the,
is anybody, but then Tim, I asked Tim if he would do what he does because this is about my 4th album with Tim, 5th album with Tim.
Nice.
And he said, yeah. And he's a really big cheerleader for my vision. And I don't want to say it's my vision, but I have a hell of a great team around me.
Yeah.
I've been all the way from my roadie to my engineer, Danny, to my band. Then we just added a new graphic designer, on board. So we've got a really great team that makes my vision come together.
Yeah.
Because these are my songs.
What's
know?
Yeah, and they're great songs, man.
Thank you.
What's the deal behind the name of the album, Fat Cats: Songs for Management?
Well, Tommy said, look, we could do this. Swami was going to leave, so I wasn't going to put out something, and I was going to record with a new drummer.
Right.
And we finally finished it. But the reason we were doing all this is because we were really turning this into management. We were getting some songs down for management.
Oh, right.
To
get out on tour, but that's not going to happen because no one's touring anywhere.
Well, we've got we're lined up, ready to go. We've got the Hollies are touring, and they're trying to come down south.
Like so the Hollies, like Bus Stop?
The old school.
Yeah.
And then also the Jazz Cat Steve Howe. Greg Ho. You'll know him from all the Simon Phillips solo records.
Okay.
He's a great jazz player, so we're supposed to go to some tours of that.
The drummer Simon Phillips?
The drummer Simon Phillips. Protocol is what he does.
Okay.
So we're supposed to be going out with the guy who did all the Simon Phillips records, and he's really a famous jazz cat on the jazz rock scene.
Yeah,
kind of like Al Di Meola.
I guess that's the thing with like progressive music, is that you can step in between the lines of like metal and hard rock and jazz because those guys kind of live in those worlds, huh?
I have a hard time convincing Tommy of that.
It seems like just from watching that metal show. Remember that show that was on VH1 Classics? That was kind of basically like what you and Dave were doing in the 90s.
Isn't that funny?
Yeah.
It's like
even wearing the black T-shirts and everything. Yeah.
Pretty soft, man.
But even watching that, like, you kind of see like, oh yeah, because there's like this whole like, once you get into the progressive era of it or progressive element of it, like there are jazz people who love Dream Theater and metal guys that love Al Di Meola and guys like that.
When I book shows, it's amazing the fan base that we've got. When I got, I've always had good songs. Like I and that's just me blowing myself. But when I got Swami about 6 years ago, and with my mindset of the vocals are really important, instead of being in the background, and then me sobering up, I think it really had to do a lot with the vision. So, man, whenever I book shows with anybody. Like, if you'll have us, I'll do it. Punk rockers, they fucking love drum. Like, I fists in the air, mohawks, green hair, hoop, there's big round holes in their head,
Yeah.
They love it.
What
metal, the progressive metal scene,
right?
Absolutely love us. And then we've also got the people who just go to listen to music to that are just music fans that don't really know anything about music because it is acoustic.
Right.
And then we have the songs. So we get to play with everybody.
That's pretty good, man. What made you sober up?
So.
What made you sober up? Were you a mess?
I've been a mess, Johnny. What made me sober up, man? It was 2014. I was doing that stint at Maria's. called After Dark, where she had a bunch of bands, some of the Who's Who's.
Right.
And I was doing every Thursday night
Mm-hmm.
for a couple of summers. And everybody loves giving me alcohol and winding me up.
Sure. Yeah.
Like, it's like, go, Nathan, go, watch this.
Yeah.
You know? And man, Maria and I would have a riot. But I started listening, and it was like, you know, man, I'm going to wait and start drinking when I start playing instead of before the show.
Right.
My vocals got better. And then it was like, well, shit, if they're that good right there like that, and I'm performing better, why don't I just wait till I get off stage to drink? And it was that summer spring summer of 2014. And then it was like, next thing I knew, it had been 2 weeks, and I met my Master Yoda Ramos, and we worked on a lot of PTSD.
Okay.
And I worked, and he asked me what I wanted to work on. And I said, I want to work on not blowing things up.
Yeah.
That was my statement.
Yeah.
And I didn't know, like, it wasn't even a conscious decision to quit drinking.
Right.
It was just one of those things that, wow, it seems to be really staticky when I drink, you know? So I'm just going to give it a break for a little while. And then my break has turned into 7 years now.
That's great, man.
Hey, dude, it's weird.
Yeah.
Like, because I want to love people. Like, you know.
Right.
At midnight on, and I love you, man. I just want to say, I mean, I love you, man.
Right.
And I appreciate you, man. And man, I just can't, man. I love you, man. I love you too, man. You know, and then it's like, no, dude, no, and they grab you, and then there's no, dude, I love you, man.
Yeah.
Like, okay, you know, and then also I didn't understand why people could spend $40 on a round of Chihuahua shots.
Right, but they won't buy a record
for the band, but they won't buy a fucking t-shirt.
Right. Yeah, what a fucking bullshit thing that is.
You know, so
the whole buying the drink and giving people drugs thing, I've realized is completely self-serving. It's only so that they can walk away and say like, "Oh yeah, I got Nathan that drink. I got Nathan."
We're down.
Yeah,
we're down like that.
I gave Nathan a J after the show or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, you know, so that's cool. I mean, I remember doing that, but
yeah. So, man,
not really.
So February 13th, come and take it live. Is that like a limited seating thing?
I can't get to my calendar.
I don't know. It seems like a show. Seems like a date to me. Are those limited capacity shows there now or something, or what's going on there?
Yeah, it's really cool.
Yeah.
Next show that I'm really excited about is going and seeing ADH Project up there.
Oh, cool. They're playing.
So they got mean old James Spear opening the show.
Yeah.
I'm Nathan no matter where I go. Doesn't matter if I'm drinking or not.
Right.
You know, like I'm hooping and hollering.
Yeah.
And if you're up on stage, I'm gonna go, come on, dude, let's go, whatever, you know.
Yeah.
And I was doing that at the James Spear show, and I he came out with an album that reminded me of Peter Gabriel.
Yeah.
That was just like, ever since that day, I was a fan, and I thought we were down, and I was heckling and just having a good time, raising a bunch of hell. And he turned around and said, "Yeah, Nathan, looks like you're getting really fat." All right, everybody, I'm fat. Woo, yeah, I'm fat. It's like, man. So then it's like, so I guess that guy doesn't want to be fucked with, but fuck it.
Fuck it,
him,
man.
I'm
man.
up there to raise the level up.
Yeah.
Like, if you're not going to jam your ass off and you think that I'm going to go see your show and you're just going to go through the motions to put on, you know, your show, fuck that.
Yeah.
I paid $6. Like, I'll pay to get in.
Yeah.
And man, if I'm going to go see my friends play, you know, and you know who said it the best to me, and I'm going to throw this guy under the bus, James Taylor.
Yeah.
We were front row at James Taylor, like front row. Well, we walked down into it, and man, it was like, baby, you see these seats? She goes, yeah, man. She works at the ticket office, and she called right before we got there and said, I've got these seats. My husband and I aren't sitting together. Can you upgrade? See what they're... And so there was 2 seats in the center.
Damn.
Like, and so I was like here, and I call him James now.
Yeah, of course.
And he was, but Mr. Taylor was right there, and I was just talking to him like I do if I was coming to your show. And I go, yeah, fucking Johnny, that was badass. Now let's go. Come on, next 2. Yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah.
So I was doing that to Mr. Taylor. And right before his encore was done, he stopped, and I was dancing around having a good time, and he would tell a joke, and I'd blah, 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 and I didn't think he was listening to me. Right? And at the very end of the show, he walked to the edge of the stage, grabbed both of my hands and said, thank you, man. You made this show memorable. And then everybody attacked him, you know?
Right.
But the only reason I'm bringing that up is because that's the way I am with my friends.
Yeah.
Or with shows that I go see.
Right.
Like, I expect people to do that to me.
Right.
You know what I
man.
mean? Like, if I'm up there just going through the motions, you best call me out on it.
Yeah. No
because
shit.
I'm definitely going to go to your show, and I'm going to call you out on it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you get, you're probably not going to come to my show a whole lot. So you're here now. You better fucking come on.
No shit.
Because let's raise this up together, man.
Well,
you know?
People, I didn't look at the show dates on your website because nobody's got fucking show dates up anymore. But so people can you keep that updated, and so if it's this come and take it.
It's on Stupid Drama. I have a flyer.
StupidDrama.com is
on Facebook.
Okay, and people can get up with you on the socials.
I don't update. I have a badass website.
Yeah.
I can sell merch from it. Tom says, dude, you need to really update it. So I updated it, put some new songs on there, but I don't put dates on it.
Okay. Well, people can follow you guys on Facebook. It's on Instagram. You're also on Twitter.
And stupiddrama.com if they want to see some pictures. But there's
videos and stuff on there. Your Studio 512 performance, which is really good, is on there. Yeah, people can get into it.
Have you ever gone to play somewhere and then your voice gives fucking out right before you go on there? And you turn to your bass player and you go, do you mind turning down a little bit? So because evidently my ear monitors were plugged into this monitor stack instead of my monitor over by where he was, and his monitors were running in front of him, and so I couldn't hear anything. And I hear, dude, I'll turn down if you turn down.
Oh, God.
And I said, what fucking kind of amateur shit is it? You're live. Hey.
Yeah.
So I was pushing too hard, and I wish I could take it back. And I always carry hot tea with me.
Uh-huh.
And, a little hot tea, mint tea with honey.
Yeah.
Oh, it's the best. And I use Bowley's Bees and some friends in the music scene who own a bee farm out in Florence.
Yeah.
And so it's Texas Hill Country, so it helps me with my allergies or trying to get used to the allergens. And I'll drink some of that, man, and bam. But I didn't bring it. I don't know why. So,
well,
my vocal performance really wasn't top notch, but man, the band was kicking ass.
Yeah, very.
And that's the best part, having a badass band.
Shit,
and we all sing. And I have a little harmony pedal that I use. I step on, and what it is I take the guitar signal, and one signal go into my harmony pedal, and the vocals go through that.
Right.
And then my signal goes off somewhere else so it doesn't squish my guitar tone.
Yeah.
But while those guys are singing, I hit that. And so it sounds
like the Beach Boys or something. Yeah, it's killer.
Big. It sounds big. People say it's cheating, but I say, dude, if there's
no, it's not cheating.
if it's going to make it bigger
Yeah.
and better
Gotta
when
do
the
it.
guys were singing.
Yeah.
But I was so flat that it would like cut out on me. I was like,
Oh.
oh,
Bummer. So
you know?
yeah. So the album is Fat Cats, Songs for Management. You can find you guys at stupiddrama.com. The band is Stupid Drama. The record's on Spotify and all the places where you stream the things. Apple Music.
Napster. Yeah.
Napster.
Yeah. Fucking, this is our 7th album.
That's
John.
fantastic, man. Well, there's the
7th
catalog's
album.
all out there. People can find
Yeah,
it.
the catalog's on everything. And what's cool is somebody asked me why I'm pulling up a song from older albums, or a song or two,
Right.
to add to the new stuff. It's because somebody else was producing it.
Right.
I didn't sing well. I didn't have the mindset that I have now.
Right.
And it sucks because I'm going to be 56 this year.
Yeah.
You know?
That's all right, man. You're still kicking ass, man.
Well,
Dude, thanks
Yeah.
for doing the show, man. This has been great catching up, and fucking the record's great. People get out there and check it out. You can find it wherever you stream. Nathan, Stupid Drama, stupiddrama.com. And
Johnny,
yeah, man.
I can't thank you enough. I hope I didn't
Thanks, man.
say all the wrong things.
No, you said all the right
God-
things. No, it was a great conversation. I hope that we're good. You don't still hate me, right? Or jealous of me,
I've
right?
never.
There's nothing.
I've never
There's really,
hated you.
as we've gotten older and you've gotten to know me better, you're probably like, Jesus, what the fuck was I jealous of that guy for?
I guess for lack of a better word, my disdain for you was in jealousy. I was fucking totally jealous of you, Johnny.
I appreciate
Walking
that.
around sexy as fuck, singing your ass off.
Thanks,
And
bro.
there I was, a larger man, trying to fucking rock and compete with fucking Rocket Baby.
Still fucking-
Rockheads. Like, how the fuck am I supposed to do that?
Oh, dude, we're all out there. It's all family, man.
It is now. Like,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
finally got over the competition part.
Good.
Now
man.
the competition comes from me trying to make my band rise,
Yeah.
and really push each other to be the best that we can. I'm lucky that I play with pros, and I
bros.
just couldn't be more proud of what we did, what we're doing, and what's about to be done.
Well, great. Well, dude, thanks again for doing the show. That's a good place to leave it. Love you, man.
Dude, awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you, Johnny.
All right,
Godspeed, my brother.
All right. Nathan Olivares from the band Stupid Drama. You can find them at stupiddrama.com. Their album Fat Cats, Songs for Management, available now wherever it is you stream and download your jams. Always great catching up with my friend Nathan. I have great respect and love for that dude. What a fantastic guy. Check it out, man. Record's great. All these guys did a great job. Tim Guerin did a great job mixing it. Find them at stupiddrama.com. And hey, gang, when you're out there checking out stupiddrama.com, don't forget that you can subscribe to this podcast wherever it is that you find podcasts, be it Spotify, Apple Podcasts, TuneIn, Overcast, anywhere they have podcasts. New shows every Tuesday and every Friday. And then sometimes I drop 3 a week. You never know what I'm going to do. Let's hear the rest of this song, To Be With You, from Fat Cats, Songs for Management, from our friend Stupid Drama. Great talking to Nathan. Have a great day, whatever it is you're doing. Let's get down.
You know, I give all the love that I have to